Gloria, it is my pleasure to present you with the Midwest Academy's Lifetime Achievement Award, December 10th, 2014.
I thank you so much for those wonderful pieces of tape, and everybody, I mean, you know, when I'm depressed, I'm going to play those. And Jackie makes us feel better about, we saw each other campaigning in Chicago, so suddenly we feel somewhat better, right? Okay, all right. Right. You I'm sure watch the Academy Awards because it's kind of irresistible, right? So these Academy Awards have made me understand those Academy Awards. How come they always get up and say, well, this means the most to me because it's a jury of my peers? Okay, this is my Academy Award. These are my peers. Possibly mean more to me. And I have to say, especially because it comes from Heather. I mean, I've trusted her and admired her for such a long time. And I was just saying to her tonight, it's so odd that we so rarely get to see each other. It's like we don't live in the same town, we're not usually in the same town, but we're always in the same place. Yeah. In our heads, right? And that means absolutely everything. And this Academy, I think, for being so clear always that real lasting change comes from the bottom up, not the top down. That it is like a tree. It does not come from the top down. Not if it's going to really last and transform. But, you know, I was not in the right time or place to be a student at the Academy. I'm sorry to say, could have saved me 20 years, probably. So I have some additional people to thank for this odd lifetime of mine of being a writer and an organizer. I thank my father for having 2 points of pride. He never wore a hat and he never had a job. By which he meant he never had a boss. Though I learned to recognize bill collectors as a child and to say at the door, "Daddy is not home," it taught me to live with and even love insecurity. As my father always said, if you don't know what will happen tomorrow, it could be wonderful. I thank my mother for getting tears in her eyes every time she said the word Roosevelt, because he ended the Depression and her making of soup from potato peelings, which was her personal symbol. From her I learned that it really does matter who gets elected. Though I wish with all my heart that she could have kept her own life that she loved so much before I was born as a newspaper reporter. I'm grateful that she encouraged me to live out her unlived life. I thank the entire country of India, where I went knowing nothing at the age of 22, because I was engaged and I was trying not to get married, so I had to go very far away. But I happened to arrive there just 10 years after independence and in the middle still of a Gandhian organizing wave. And it really did end up for weeks walking from village to village with a cup, a sari, and a comb. And those organizers taught me these principles. If you want people to listen to you, you first have to listen to them. If you want people to see you, you have to go where they live. You have to sit down eye to eye. And if you do something that people care about, the people will take care of you. Wow. I think of that every time the toll taker on the Tri-Road Bridge says, "Honey, it's raining, do you want an umbrella?" Every time I get on a plane and I have a kind of sorority of flight attendants, as I just did coming here. I mean, it is true. It is true. But everything I learned there, I mean, it never once occurred to me that this would be useful in my own country. But once movements were born, remember I was there in the 50s, okay? Once movements were born, it truly was. I began to realize it. So here's some more people I want to thank. I thank Bella Abzug. We have many, for a little bit reducing my fear of conflict. I know that to be afraid of conflict means that I'm in the wrong business. I understand that. But she loved conflict. She made it so creative and life-giving. And I thank my Saru, my co-awardee here, who has been so brave in the face of conflict, taking on the other NRA, the National Restaurant Association. I thank my longtime speaking partner, who's no longer with us, the civil rights lawyer and outrageous activist, Flo Kennedy. How many of us here remember Flo Kennedy? She did something very important for me, I have to say, because we all know there's a certain amount of internal conflict, not just external conflict, right? And the internalized oppression makes us do things to each other sometimes. And she, when I was feeling the worst, she always said to me, the point of getting your ass kicked is not that it happens at the right time or for the right reasons. The point is that it keeps your ass sensitive. Is that not wise? I thank everybody here who has taken on the prison industrial complex, as Angela Davis so rightly named it so many years ago, and cops who don't look like or respect the communities they serve, and those who understand, everybody who understands, that movements are linked, that every movement is part of every other movement. They are not silos, they are linked. If Zimmerman, for instance, had been arrested for domestic violence, Trayvon Martin might be alive.
That's right.
If we had diverse cops, you know, they keep saying rightly that cops should look more like the community, but that means half women, half diverse women. And so far, I haven't heard that. Even though, I mean, you know, are women perfect? Wonderful? No, okay, but all the studies show that when women arrive, situations of conflict diminish, and when male officers arrive, they tend to escalate. And, you know, I don't think we've been so often convicted of chokeholds and shooting people. So how come we don't talk about cops being half women? So we can take that up. And finally, I have to say, I want to thank for the first time a long deceased man you don't know, Dr. John Sharp in London. I thank him not only for myself, but because of the crazed idea of dividing human qualities into masculine and feminine instead of understanding that they are all human, and that he understood that it was all about reproduction and that those politics had to end. It happened when I was on my way to India. Remember how I said I was engaged and trying not to get married? Remember that part? Okay. I was on my way to India waiting for my visa in London. It was 1957, 10 years before English physicians could legally perform an abortion for any reason other than the physical health of the woman. And it took, they were taking a considerable risk if they referred for an abortion, anyone. And he referred me, a 22-year-old American, knowing only that I had broken an engagement at home to seek some unknown but different fate. He said to me, "You must promise me only two things. First, you will not tell anyone my name. And second, you will do what you want to do with your life. I think he, who knew in life what was wrong, would not mind, so many years after his death, if I say this now. So I thank him too. I've done the best I could, but no, wait a minute, that's past tense. I'm continuing to do the best I can. But because I am going to make it to 100. I mean, you know, I have to live up to this award. I'm going to have to make it to 100. But I would also like to say to Dr. Sharp and the Dr. Sharps everywhere, this award is for you.
Undercurrent under the surface makes the mainstream get so nervous. It's time for purpose, for news to serve us, not with propaganda they use to hurt